Good Friday morning. Tim Radford here with you on WKRK 105.5 FM, 1320 AM, cable TV channel 25, and worldwide at country.am. And usually at this time on Fridays at 11:05, we have Sheriff Derek Palmer from the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office with us, but he can't make it today, and we have a special guest. We've had him on here before, so very knowledgeable individual, Detective Roger Williams. Roger, thank you for being a part of our show this morning. We have a lot to talk about.
Yes, sir, we do. Thank you for letting me come here and be with you.
Very good. Well, I understand the sheriff was in Chattanooga overnight and with Joe and Hope Woods,
Yes.
and we just
Yes.
want to request prayer for
We
them.
do. And if it would be okay with you, if I could just offer one up real quick.
Absolutely.
Okay. Our precious Heavenly Father, we do come to you, and as your word says that we can come to the well anytime that we need. Well, Father, we're here at the well and just asking that you pour out your Spirit upon this community, but that you look down on Joe and Hope, and you just continue to pour out to them your many blessings. Father, there's so many things go on, and they're good people, and we just ask that you remember them and that you look over this community and ask that they remember them as well. I ask these things and lift them up in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen. Can you give us an update on the condition there? I know Joe works with the sheriff's office, and he's been there for many years.
Oh, yeah. I worked with him a long time, and he's my lieutenant.
Mm-hmm.
He's over investigations, does a good job, and he's a hard worker. Hope's been battling cancer for a long time now, and many years, and she's a fighter. And that is just awesome to see somebody that will continue to fight, not just give up. In this situation here, that they found some more problems that they're going to have to deal with, but they've got to work on things, and sometimes it's that wait and see thing. Like we have to let God just say, okay, work your plan, because he has the plan, and we know that, and that's what they're doing. But the sheriff and the chief and a few of our other key people were with them all night. There's some other people that have gone in there, but they will continue to need prayers, and it's always beautiful to see God's healing when it happens, and that's what we're looking forward to, a very beautiful time.
It speaks a lot for your office to be there with the family in Chattanooga at this time, so that just speaks volumes.
Well, I think you said the operative word. It's called family, and that's the way we look at each other. We might fight with each other once in a while, but I've never known a family, not even my own personal family, that we didn't fight once or twice. But at the end of the day, we love each other, we hug each other's necks, and we go on and do what we got to do next.
All right. Well, we will just continue lifting Joe and Hope up in our prayers as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. We have quite a bit to talk about, as we mentioned before. One, we wanted to touch on Red Ribbon Week.
I'm glad you said that.
That is hard. I had to say it really slow, Red Ribbon Week.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I sound like Bugs Bunny or Elmer Fudd. That's Red Ribbon.
That's why I asked you to say it, because it always happens. I go, blah, 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 and I just say, I can't say that.
Well, give us some information about Red Ribbon Week.
Well, it's actually something where the schools, and it's a campaign that's been running, and it's on drug prevention in the nation. It's one of the longest running programs that they have. And it's where the community kind of bonds together and show their commitment against people doing drugs, illegal drugs. Red Ribbon Week, and I did say it, is designed to be an awareness campaign to distribute information to the general public about the dangers of drug abuse. And we're not talking about your aspirins and things. We're talking about the meth and things like that. Things that really bring the person down and is detrimental to their health and destroys their health, destroys their family, destroys everything about them. Cherokee County Schools will celebrate all week long. So this week coming up, they're going to be doing different things at each of the schools. They have their own activities. They're kind of independent of each other on what they do, but they have the same central theme, which this year's theme is YOLO, Y-O-L-O. You only live once, be drug-free. And I think that's awesome. Some of the people saw a Facebook post that we put out there months ago about that meth was tainted with the Zika virus.
Right.
Okay. And that wasn't done to make light of an addiction problem, because addiction is a very bad problem. That was done to raise awareness that, hey, meth is bad no matter what.
Right.
And, we'd like to have people come and just get a hold of us and say, hey, we want to stop all that. We want to help you. Let's stop these people. But my goodness, people that are addicted, they need prayers, they need support, they need every bit of help that we can to get them off of it, because it is nice to see an addict that's turned, and how beautiful their life is becoming. One of the things that we will be doing this week is that we're going to take our canines over there, and we're going to let them run around and show off what they can do a little bit, and let the kids get around, pet them and everything. And that's always, for years, that's always been one of the big things. And you'll see, law enforcement out there, and hopefully we'll have a red ribbon. I said it again. We'll have the ribbons on. But this is a good time for parents and students. They can get together and sign a pledge to show that they are committed to being drug-free. And that's where it's at. Don't start it. You don't have to worry about coming off of it.
And it's so important to have the sheriff's office and other law enforcement agencies involved in our school systems. I know you and the sheriff both spent many years with our school systems.
Oh, yeah.
And what kind of reception from the students do you have when you visit?
Well, I've never had a bad experience. It's always a very good experience. It's always very uplifting to me. Even when I go in and I talk about internet safety awareness, or I talk about drug awareness, or whatever, it's usually well received. And I learn more from the kids because they learn I'm a real person. I'm not some stuffed shirt that they can't talk to.
Right.
And that's what they need. They need somebody that can really just listen, help them with whatever they need help with, and move on. You got to get their trust too.
There are so many kids that are raised to be afraid of police or any kind of law enforcement.
Sure.
That you guys are the bad guys. And it is so important to let those kids realize that you're there to help.
Yeah, we really are. And I think that is hard for them to understand, especially if you walk through. That's the worst place in the world is in a grocery store. You've got a child that's misbehaving, and they see you walk in uniform, or you got a badge on, and the first thing that happens, if you don't behave, he's going to get you.
Right. You're the punishment.
Yeah. And that's farthest thing from the truth we want to have happen, because, when we deal with missing children, we don't want them to be scared.
Right.
We want them to say, hey, that's my safety place, and I can run to that person.
And it's really hard to get everyone on board to understand that too.
Sure.
But yeah, when someone needs help, safety,
we're there.
You're there.
Yeah, we really are. And it makes us happy to help. Believe it or not, we may sound like grouches sometimes when we come to the house, but they don't know what we've been through, what call we just finished. But at the end of the day, if we can help people, that's why we're here.
Yeah, I try to put myself in that position. I don't know if I could do that job, because you're spending all day dealing with people's problems. I spend my day talking to people on Party Line, and every one of my call usually is just a very pleasant experience because we have so many nice people. But you're not always dealing with the nicest of situations every day. So I could see where your mood would decline slightly.
Sure. And they don't know what's going on in our personal lives. You take a situation like with Joe. He's having to deal with something that's very hard, very difficult. And how can you concentrate and do your job? But I know that he's been dealing with this for a while, right. And I have a lot of respect for him because he has constantly done a good job.
I think he has the respect of quite a few people out there who have known him throughout the years.
I hope so, because he's a good fellow.
All right. One of the things you also do is anybody who reads our press releases on our Facebook page or website or the Cherokee County Sheriff's or any other media outlet, you are the person behind those press releases. Is that a fun job for you, or?
It sometimes it is a very difficult balancing act, and sometimes I have to explain this to different media outlets because one or the other will call and say, "Hey, I need more information." For a case, and if you want to know about an arrest, it's not been through the judicial system all the way through. So if you have an arrest, and then we turn around and we take that arrest, and we go take it into court, well, everything that's said, there's nobody that's not inundated or they're immune to the Facebook and newspapers, television, all 9 yards. So if we put too much information out there that could taint the trial, right. One, they've either got to move everything, or two, justice isn't served. Because we have a beautiful judicial system that says that you are innocent until you're proven guilty. Well, the only way we can do that is it's got to be a level playing field. So yeah, I could put that out there. So it is difficult to find that happy medium to make sure that, one, the public is informed because they need to know what's going on.
Right.
And two, make sure that I haven't given away the house and the farm too.
It is a difficult job, and we get so many comments. People are either pleased to see the information being posted, or family and friends of the person involved that are slightly irate, and that we're ruining their reputation. But we have to explain the arrest happened. I mean, that's factual,
Right.
and here's why. And we always try to put innocent until proven guilty on all
Right.
of our press releases, because that is, a fact of life. Something could happen. But do you get a lot of feedback from people when you post those as well?
We do on our webpage, just like with the thing on the Zika virus. Again, that wasn't done to make fun of anybody, but there was a lot of posts, and there
That
still
raised a
are people
lot of awareness, and that's one of the things I share quite a bit from our Facebook page. From the sheriff's office, but I didn't post that one because you didn't need my help.
No.
You do not need my help at all.
Yeah, and the people are still posting to it, and I think that the people that are most irate really misunderstood what was being there. And but do I take it down? I don't know. It's raising awareness. It is
really
getting
is.
people's attention, and
we do have a pretty serious problem with illegal drugs in our area.
Oh, yes.
Not just illegal, but prescription drugs as well.
yes, we're not immune. We can't say, well, Raleigh's got the problem or Atlanta's got the problem. It goes on in Cherokee County. Now, we're working very hard. I know the sheriff's office is constantly working. I did some work with one of the drug officers this morning, getting ready because they've got something else they need to do, okay? And no, we don't always tell you what we're doing. I can't tell you right now how many things this went on because, in the future, very near future, you're going to see some of the fruits of our labors. Right. I can tell you that, whether it be with the drug problem or whether it be with the sexual tourism and the child pornography investigations. But you're also going to see some things go on with, just the general crime, the burglaries and things like, or breaking and enterings and things like that. So sometimes we got to say, just be patient with us. And that's why you don't hear things sometimes, because we're busy.
I know anyone who follows your Facebook page knows that you have a passion to protect children, and there's been a lot of human trafficking cases going. The FBI just did one, was it last week, and
Yes.
Quite a few people were arrested. Tell us explain what human trafficking is, if you will, and what kind of problem we have locally.
Yeah, human trafficking, and a lot of times we think that that we only have a problem if it's involving children. That's not necessarily true. It can involve adults. But in a nutshell, what it is you've got somebody that's exerting some type of force for sexual favors, okay? For this person to, one, be here, two, that they're going to perform sexual acts for this person to receive money and things like that. So, yes, there is a problem, okay? And again, it's not in Atlanta. It's not just, it is in Atlanta. It's not just in Atlanta. It's not in Knoxville. We're 2 hours from major metropolitans. So, and a lot of people think, well, it's quaint little old Murphy, and it is. It's a beautiful area, but it also can be a magnet sometimes.
Right. Do people see us as a place to hide?
I believe so. I administer the sex offender registry in Cherokee County. And right now we have 64 registered sex offenders, which 4 of those are in prison right now. And it's a daunting job. And when I look and I see where some of them come from, I won't name any particular states, but they left the other state because they were a lot harder than North Carolina. It's not Cherokee County, it's North Carolina, because that's where the laws are come down. We just administer the laws. But we become something that's very appealing to them. Say, hey, I can go there and live and I don't have as many rules. Well, we enforce all the rules, or we ensure that the rules are enforced as best we can.
Right. And one of the things that we notice that you do from time to time is you post pictures that you're looking for people who have failed to report. And if someone is on the sex offenders registry they have to report any change of address, correct?
That is true.
How often do they need to do that?
They have to report any change of address within 3 business days. Okay,
3 business days?
If they move from, and I had this, we had to go get a guy straightened out because he created his own address, believe it or not. We don't know how he did that, but he did. But we got him, brought him in, and said, you've got to fix this right now. Right now, there are 3 cases that I know of that are waiting for the district attorney's approval to submit to the grand jury for people that did not register when they were not living where they were supposed to, or they moved in without coming in and registering. Is it a problem? Not as long as we keep on top of them like we try to do.
And the one thing that I've noticed when we do share those, we're looking for the sex offender register, is that people will comment, well, this happened 10 years ago. Why is it? The problem is not what happened 10 years ago. The problem is that they failed to report an address. And if they just want to stay out of the news, they just need to contact your office to report a change of address.
Right.
So that's some of the biggest feedback that we get when we post those on our Facebook page, is that this happened a long time ago.
Yep.
But the situation was the address needs to be updated. And it's not that hard of a process.
No, it's a matter, you come in, you fill out one form. Just to kind of enlighten people a little bit, during the registry process, the initial registration, and then every so often, they're given what they call a duty to register, which is 13 pages, a lot of information. These are the do's and don'ts. Okay, here's your copy. If you have any questions, here's my number. So they're given everything that they need to know. So you come back and you ask, why did you do that? And, well, I just didn't feel like, and I had one tell me that one time. He says, I just didn't feel I had to come back and change anything. So, I mean, that's up to them. Case is already gone, I can tell you that. And it's shame on their part, because this is supposedly an adult who made a bad decision a long time ago. Not holding the decision against them, but they have requirements, and they don't want to follow through with it.
All right. Another thing I learned, too, from doing this show every week is that if you're a registered sex offender, you cannot have a social media account. Well,
that's not necessarily true. North Carolina's been flip-flopping back and forth. They did have a period of time that some of our social media and restriction as far as distances to protected properties became under question whether they were constitutional or not. They've since corrected all those. They went back and said, okay, what was that case or those cases saying? With social media, they said, well, we can't keep them off Facebook, which you'll find if you look across the United States, most of them are allowed to have some type of social media account.
Okay, so that is...
But they have to list it with us. And that's where the problem usually comes in. They think, well, I have to hide it. I can't tell you I've got a Facebook account. Well, now, on the other hand, Facebook, because they're privately owned, says if you're a registered sex offender, you can't have Facebook, you can't have Instagram, you can't have, any of them that they own. The same with Snapchat, Kik, all those. Once the people know that they are a registered sex offender, that account is taken down.
Okay.
Maybe they make a new one or not, and that's up to the person. The only thing they have to do is they have to notify us.
Okay. I know a lot of people use social media to stalk others. Have you had many cases where social media is being used to stalk or harass others or bullying?
Lately?
Lately?
Well, I say that because I am working a couple of we do get stalking cases. I know there's 2 or 3 come to my head real quick. We're having what they call sextortion going on. I don't know if you've heard about that, but that is a practice where they pretend they may have a picture of you that would be compromising. And I say this to the young people and even the adults, if you don't send it, it don't get, and that's what they don't understand is if you do send it out there ain't no internet erase button.
Right.
We can't turn around and pull them back. I can find the person that's harassing you, that's saying do this. Sextortion is actually a federal crime now. So depending on the severity, if the United States Attorney's Office wants to take that case up, they can. I do have 2 sextortion cases that are going on right now. And they're very, because they're involving younger people,
right.
It's very worrisome to them. And again, I don't know whether they send anything out or not. They do.
Right.
And the fear of being compromised was very real to them. So, but hopefully we'll solve that one pretty soon.
All right. So with the talk about sextortion and Facebook and the sex offenders registry, Halloween is coming up, and
Yes.
this is an important time to talk about folks that are registered sex offenders.
Yep.
That they need to be where they are supposed to be.
Right. We have for years now went out on Halloween, and we encourage the sex offenders to not have lights on, to not be passing out candy, to not endanger themselves of a situation where it could cause them to go back to jail.
Right.
They cannot be anywhere such as, like, we know that Duke Street and some of the other community places, we'll see a lot of children gather, and they can't be there. It's just like our fair out here that they're going to have this weekend. They can't go there because we've got kid rights and everything. So they're prohibited from going, but there's a reason why. The law says it. And it's the same way here. We go out, we knock on doors, make sure they're home, or if they're not home, at least they're not inviting a child in to where it could be a very bad situation.
So if you're out there, a registered sex offender, make sure to report to the sheriff's office before Halloween. Make sure to do that, because chances are you're going to get checked on and need to have a correct address to be there. What happens if they're not do you check 2 or 3 times?
Oh, yeah. We don't just take a one-shot, fly over and call it done. We don't ever do anything like. We follow due diligence. And, people, they may not be there. They may be somewhere shopping or something like that, Nothing says that they have to be a certain place unless they're on probation or something like that. So, we do use common sense. We're not, the all-powerful Oz where we're going to bonk you over the head and say, that's it, you're done, poof, we give them a fair chance. And it may not seem like it sometimes, but we do because we have to.
All right. Let's talk about the internet and some safety tips. I know you have some classes, and also let's just work in apps that people, especially young people, download on their phones that parents probably need to be aware of.
Well, I named one of them Snapchat. I do internet safety lectures, and I'll say this. If an organization would like to have something geared towards family, I've got a presentation. I can do that. I can do what they call secular, which is more without a religious point of view, but I've also got one which is faith-based. And if your church youth group would like to see that, I'd be happy to do that. All they have to do is just call the office and let me know. But some of the apps that we're seeing out there, Snapchat is a real bad one. And a lot of people think that that's really cool because it takes a snap, a real quick video or whatever, and it disappears. Well, it doesn't disappear. We've got probably about close to between $50,000 and $60,000 worth of equipment that was all we received under grants that we can pull things off of cell phones. And then we can go back and pull information off of the internet service providers. They also give us things. Kik is another one. WhatsApp. These are all bad apps, okay? Applications. They're bad. Adults get them. That's up to them. Adults can send things back and forth because as long as they're consenting, it's between them. But when you involve a child or you get a child to send something that is inappropriate and they're under the age of 18, a lot of people think, well, it's 15, 16. No, it's any child that's under the age of 18. If you aid, abet, or encourage them to create a sexually explicit image or video, you could be guilty of child pornography or producing child pornography. And, that could get you at least 10 years in the state of North Carolina, not saying what would happen at the federal level. So those apps, there was one, I can't remember the name of it necessarily, but it allowed you to hide my files. And I think there may have been another word that was on there. Probably wouldn't be appropriate to say. But
I remember there was a one that looks like a calculator,
Yes.
and it has like a plus or a minus at the end. I was reading about that, and that is a way that kids will hide their photos from their parents. If they
Right.
were to go through their phone, it looks like a calculator app.
right.
So there are ways that kids are intentionally trying to hide
Sure.
things from their parents
Sure.
or messages or chats that they may be having with people that the parents may not know about.
Right. And I can tell you from personal experience, dealing with that application, I retrieved every photo that person had taken, and they were like, wow, I don't believe that. because they thought, and that's what was out there. I mean, I'll not get into the election thing. They talked about bleach, how that can take things away. Whatever's made, there's got to be something out there. It may take NSA or somebody like that to bring it back up, but it can be brought back up.
Right.
So that's not the issue. The thing that I worry about, because we think we're anonymous when we're on the internet, well, there's people out there that's probably better than me. Well, I know they are. They're better than I am about finding people.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those are bad guys, and they can find a child in a short period of time. I don't want to have to work a case where I'm looking for a child. I never, ever do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a reality that I prepare for every single day.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the use of those apps does help them.
And for people excuse me, I got a coffee ground in my throat here. Each device has its own unique IP address. Is that correct?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I just learned that today.
All right. So if anything needs to be traced, then is that yours?
It's not
or
mine, I swear. Mine's on silent but deadly.
I have lost my phone.
Uh-oh.
All right. But yeah, every device has its own IP address. Therefore, things are very traceable on the internet.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that they taught us real quick was that you had a version of the internet protocol IP addresses that was a certain way. Well, they come out just because of smartphones, tablets, and things like that, with what they call IPv6, or the Internet Protocol version 6. And that now we're learning that traces that particular device.
Mm-hmm.
Used to you had to log on to a router or something like that.
Right.
And depending on how they had it set up, we might not find out the particular address. And so it was a little bit more of a daunting process. But now, if we get the version 6 address, we actually know the device in particular. Right. And I ran into this a couple years ago with a local provider that could not give me exactly who was on at a certain time. Mm-hmm. So we weren't able to find that house. Now, I'm always for, I know it's going to happen again in the future. These guys ain't that smart, and they just can't stop. So we'll catch them eventually, hopefully before I retire.
Right. All right. And there's been situations where people will get on sites like Topics, and they feel they're anonymous.
Yes.
And there've actually been cases, even locally, where someone has gotten sued for slander or libel or whatever that goes just for harassing people on sites like Topics.
Yeah. Well, and there's a danger out there, what you call geolocating an IP address, because you don't know 100% the information that you're getting is true. Mm-hmm. The information I get is done by court order, so I know that it's going to be good information. It's going to give me exactly who it is. So that's why we're able to go do a little bit more than the common person. But I know pretty much the situation that you're talking about. And, I just say this. When people get out there and they're talking about each other, don't talk about each other. That's the best thing. Don't do that. But just understand it's talk a lot of times, and nobody likes to hear that.
Right. All right. I can see our time is winding down. We want to mention also something that you put your heart into as Angel Harvest.
Yes. Matter of fact, we're doing a delivery this Saturday. We have actually changed where we have to go get the food at. We're going, me and my little buddy Terry Park, we're going to head down to Cornelia, Georgia, to make the pickup down there. In fact, right before I sat down here, I got an email from them letting me know what time to meet them. This is a beautiful ministry, feeding the people. And James said that. He said, show me your action, show me your faith, go feed. Okay? Well, that's what we're doing here. We're allowing people to get food at a reduced rate to kind of help offset, because it costs a lot of money. I don't care what you do. The thing that I'm looking for is I'm looking for other churches that want to join in, because they can be their own host site. And then we could work together. Eventually, if we got a big enough amount of people, they would deliver the food here, which would mean I didn't have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So there's a side benefit for me, but the real benefit is ensuring that the people get fed.
And the program is not income based. It's
No.
if you just want to be a good steward of your money, you can place the order, and you have an Angel Harvest Facebook page that folks can go there, and you share the monthly menu every month. And do you send us usually emails, and we put that on the radio
You do.
about when the pickup and order dates are? So, but if people want to know more about the Angel Harvest Ministries, how can they contact you?
They can call. I'm not home a lot, but my home telephone number is 837-5921. And I've had that number for 20-some years. It's not going to change, I hope. But they can call, leave a message. I will call them back, or they can get on Facebook, or just listen for you, because you put those out there, and I'm able to get it in the newspapers every once in a while. So.
Very good. Well, whenever we can assist, just let us know, and we're happy to do that.
Well, I always appreciate it.
I think the people who take advantage of the service really appreciate having that in place.
Well, they do. We've been doing it since 2001, so we've been doing it about 15, 16 years, and we've got a couple people that's been there at least 13 or 14.
All right. What have we not covered that we were supposed to cover this week?
In a nutshell, going along when I said there's some things coming down the road, we are looking for volunteers, unpaid people, interns that are in the CJ program that would like to do some data entry. The only thing that we really ask is they're able to pass a background check.
Right.
They know whether they can or not. They know what we're going to find out when we start digging in there. If they can pass a background check and understand that they're working in an environment, they can't talk about what they're seeing and things like that, but it, maybe push them along. Maybe they can see if they really have an interest to be in a criminal justice type job. They need to just come up and, get an application, fill it out, and then be willing to talk to the chief or the sheriff.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Roger, thank you very much. We appreciate you taking the time to be with us, and I'll be sending you the file of this program
All
so you
right.
can post it on your Facebook page.
Yeah, we'll have it up sometime this afternoon. Thank you, Tim.
By the way, any of our listeners who miss our show every week here on the radio, you can go to the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office Facebook page and view them. He has a button. You can just watch it on YouTube. And there's also an archive of all the past shows too on your YouTube channel as well.
Sir.
So
Sure
we
is.
just want to let people know that that's available. So if they miss or want to hear something again, they can just always go to your YouTube channel and watch everything that we've done so far. All right.
Thank you.
It's WKRK Radio, 105.5 FM, 1320 AM, cable TV channel 25, and worldwide at country.am. Your weather.